How is everyone on this chilly Wednesday afternoon? Let's see. Who's here? Emma Sue, Helene, Sharon, Margot, Gertrude, Sandy, Good Juju, Bonds, White Dragon, Dishes and Stitches. Oh, that's too funny. Pamela, Mariel, Carol, Jenny, and so many more. Okay, great. Let me know that you can see and hear me okay. Hi, Craig, Linda, Adelie, and Kim. So I have your questions in front of me. Yes, you can see and hear me, Suzanne. Sarah, perfect. Okay. So I do have your questions in front of me, but also feel free to ask some questions live, now that you're here. So I am just going to get right into it. Oh, by the way, everybody keeps emailing me and letting me know that there's another YouTuber that's taking all my videos. But unfortunately, it actually doesn't really violate much because it's not copyrighted or trademarked. So it is kind of what it is. I'm not going to worry about it too much. They appear to be in Vietnam, whatever that's worth, I guess. So yeah, I'm not too worried. But thank you for letting me know. There's actually a second channel too that is doing the same thing. But I don't see why they don't just, create their own content. Okay, I know it's a pain. So let me get into the questions that I have here. So Light Vocation asks, will Democrats keep or hopefully even gain seats in the House and Senate in this year's midterms? I feel pretty good about it. Can I report them to YouTube? The first thing YouTube wants to know is my copyright or trademark number on the video. That's and I have to fill it in. So, if you guys want to report the channel, that's fine. But, it's definitely not the first time this has happened. So, all right. So will the Democrats keep or even gain seats in the House and Senate? Let's take a look at the midterms. I am feeling pretty optimistic about it. I think we just need to keep this momentum going for sure. See what the cards have to say. Everybody's starting to come in now. Please hit the like button because that does help my algorithm, and feel free to leave a comment, ask a question. Oh, Misread 4. I will take a look at that one. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a look at the Democrats. Oh, I mean, this is great. The very first card I pull is the Empress. And like I've always said, this is one of my 2 cards for the US. It's also a card of abundance and fertility, and like the seeds that are being sown will come into fruition. So, I think as long as everybody gets out there and votes, it's good. No real obstacle, because I would just say, this is the card of change. And so it's coming up in the obstacle position. So I don't really think that's like a real huge obstacle. And then we get this very governmental card, the Hierophant. And so let's take a look at the next one to see how we should interpret him. Oh, the card of victory and triumph, the card of success and leadership, followed by, the Knight of Cups. So, like knight in shining armor coming, and, that's really a nice card to get for this. And also the World card. I think the world is watching this for sure because we have such an impact, on everybody. And so, and we're starting a new phase. And I think that that is a phase where we're heading in the right direction. We're heading towards 4th density. We're going the way we should, so try not to pour negativity and fear and panic into all of this. Oh, everyone's coming in. Hello, hello. EPS asks about Hunter Biden. When is the federal investigation into Hunter's business and tax issues going to end? And is there any merit in this ongoing investigation? Let's take a look. We'll see what the cards have to say. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, I really feel like they're putting Hunter through the ringer here. You know, they certainly didn't seem to do this to 45's children, did they? Okay. So the first card that I get is the Hierophant again. So a very governmental card. So yeah, I mean, he is being investigated and all that. So that's why this card came up. But boy, is it going to be slow. So the obstacle is, so you asked, I believe you asked when, right? And this is like the card of stagnation, right? Nothing happening, no movement. So, okay. And who's behind it? You know, I mean, this is certainly one of my cards for 45, one of my cards for the GOP. And it's also, I think, you know, illustrating that it's keeping him sort of tied down. He's getting sort of chained down. But then look at the card that we finish up with. The card of peace, love, and happiness, the 10 of Cups. So, you know what? It's not going to last forever. Nothing ever does. And I think for him, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So we just have to hang in there, okay? I liked this question that Lightwalker Jenny asked. I keep thinking that the Smith Rock incident at the Oscars was to focus on yet another power system that needs to crumble, namely Hollywood celebrity. Yet that doesn't seem to be the takeaway by most. Am I reading into this more than it was? Yeah, I think that's part of it. You know, the way our culture likes to look at celebrities is almost like worshiping. It's like they're gods or goddesses, and we're just putting too much emphasis into celebrities. They are not perfect people. I don't think that they're necessarily the best role models. I think they're just human beings who are entertainers, you know? I think there's a lot of dynamics going on, a lot of, you know, personal stuff. You know, like Chris Rock has been doing therapy 7 hours a week for an awfully long time because he has a disorder where he can't pick up on nonverbal cues. You know, on the other hand, Will Smith has a history where his father beat his mother. And, you know, and they've talked about these things way before this incident, so I do believe they're true. And, you know, he had regret about being a child and standing by and watching his mother get hit. And so I think, yeah, I mean, it's just a hot mess. But let's pull a couple of cards about this. Yeah, I mean, Chris Rock, yeah, some of you saying you didn't know that about Chris Rock. Yes, I mean, he's been in therapy a long time. And there's speculation that he is on the spectrum with Asperger's. You know, he's had that looked into. He's, you know, been going through therapy forever, trying to figure it out, because he thinks that if somebody doesn't like his jokes, it's because they don't like him. That, like, he can't seem to make a connection between things. So no, he probably shouldn't have made a joke about that. But at the same time, I mean, I've certainly heard worse jokes, but it's not, you know, I mean, it's a low blow, but I think we need to stop prioritizing celebrities. Well, that's interesting. So actually, this makes me sort of hopeful. You know, because literally the first card is the Star card, you know, wishes and dreams coming true, people having faith and trust. So maybe some normalcy is going to be restored back into that celebrity culture. The obstacle was judgment. Obviously not a great judgment call, was it, to do that? You know, and as a woman, I would not find it flattering. I would be really disturbed that a man thought that he had to physically protect me if I wasn't physically under attack. But, right, yes, in Bonds, she brings up the story about Chris Rock, why he chooses nonviolence, because he literally, as a young person, almost killed another person in a fight. So yeah, so judgment was the obstacle that evening, wasn't it? But, you know, people will come together. Community will come together. People will support each other. However, when we talk about Hollywood, who is surprised that there's hidden motives and secret agendas? You know, there is a dark force behind some of this, for sure. You know, I mean, there always has been. I think the majority of them are good, but there is this underlying attitude and culture that is negative, is dark. But then we get like a return to normalcy too, to how things used to be. And so I think things will get better. Adrian asks if and I had to look up who this was, Adrian, about Katie Porter, looking at her in the future. She's currently a representative in the 45th district in Southern California. So I looked her up, and she's a Democrat. And on the younger side too, you know, I was a little surprised. You know, she's, you know, sometimes, you know, usually I think when we look at politicians, we're used to seeing them being much older, but, you know, just a middle-aged woman. So let's take a look at Katie Porter. This will be like a really, oh, everyone's like voicing their support for Katie. Okay. So I think, you know, it's kind of nice because like this is such a cold read for me because I don't really know anything about her. So let me just give the cards a really nice shuffle here. Okay. All right. So, I mean, this is like a nice positive card, you know, the knight in shining armor here that's full of like promises and opportunities and, you know, comes bearing good things. So, you know, and I know some other people like read it differently. For me, unless the cards were like really negative surrounding it, which they're not, I would look at it differently. So there's more opportunities coming her way. Obstacles are, you know, there's people around her that have differing beliefs, values, morals, judgment calls, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of infighting going on. But look at this. She ends up with the Wheel of Fortune. Like this is a karmic destiny for her. You know, she's at a turning point in her life where she comes into her fate, her destiny, her karma, and, you know, and it's all really nice. So I see really good things for her. So okay, so do you have any questions for me? Do you have some questions that I can answer? Let me just give the cards a good shuffle here. Or I can go back up. Anime fan, I don't know who that is. So Katie's the one that always has the whiteboard. Okay. Will Taylor Greene and Boebert be voted out of Congress? So let's look at Greene and then let's look at Boebert. Okay, so Marjorie. I'm not so sure Marjorie's going anywhere, to be honest with you. I mean, as distasteful as most of us find her, there are people that like her. You have to keep that in mind. Interesting. So she's feeling some, so Marjorie, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's feeling burdened and oppressed for some reason. Okay, so things are kind of coming down on her. Her obstacle is her inability to work with others. You know, the Lover's card is all about couples and people coming back together and all of that. But here she is coming up with plans and strategies and figuring it all out. And she certainly has the financial backing. You know, this is the card of being wealthy in one's own garden. So there is money behind her. And there's also opportunities coming her way. Okay, so let's look at Boebert. Her I don't feel quite as strongly about. that funk. I really don't think Putin is going to use any nuclear weapons. I still don't. I mean, I've said that before, I know, but I don't feel it. Okay. Oh, so, all right. So Boba gets this very like official governmental type card. She gets the Emperor. I think in her own mind, this is what she thinks. You know, that's how she sees herself. The obstacle, though, she may not be getting the financial backing that she needs. So that could be a real issue for her. And then she gets the card of heartbreak and heartache. So I don't feel as optimistic about her as I do Marjorie. I saw somebody ask, will Barr be prosecuted? They go by so fast. It's so hard. Oh. Okay, so do I see Bill Barr being criminally prosecuted? Let's take a look. You know, when you go into his energy, it's just so dark. It's so depressed. It's so negative, which tells me that he knows things that we don't, you know, about his own future. Okay. So here he is all by himself, fighting alone on a hill. You know, he's not getting the support that he once enjoyed. His obstacle, I think for many of us, you know, this is the Nancy Pelosi card. Either way, it's a strong woman that is going to be a real problem for him. He's going to work hard and diligently at all of this. You know, he's going to try to wheel and deal and do what he can. But now look at this. When you look at this, you get the Wheel of Fortune card, and you always want to look at the cards that surround the Wheel of Fortune, right? Because, all right, this is a turning point. He's coming into his karmic destiny and fate. But, and I don't even do like reverse cards. So, you know, here is the Smug Merchant reversed. So no longer happy and content and, you know, so thrilled with his, you know, cups all behind him. So, you know, not a good energy. And, oh, this one's upside down too. Three of Cups, the card of joy and celebrating. That's what I mean. Like when he comes into, like when you go into his energy, it's just so dark. He definitely knows something we don't. And then I get my card for Biden. So I would say, yeah, he is not looking so good. How about that? What is the difference between fifth density and fifth dimension? Densities are levels of consciousness, and dimensions are more of like a physical kind of place. So yeah, they're totally different. Somebody asked if I saw more stimulus checks, and I don't, unfortunately. But let me pull a couple of cards and just see if the cards support that. I don't think Merrick Garland's gone anywhere. I think he's just very quietly doing his thing. But we'll pull a few cards on Merrick Garland because I see a lot of you asking about that. Wait, there's too many questions going by. Yeah, I don't see the stimulus check coming, guys. So the first card is, you know, this is probably how we're all kind of feeling with the inflation and the price of things right now, right? The obstacle. our strength and courage and patience are all being tested right now because it's so expensive, right? Everything is so expensive at this moment. Here's how we're feeling, you know, the card of like feeling burdened and oppressed and just downtrodden. And then here's the card and it's reversed. So it's funny that some of my cards got reversed. I don't know. Should I blame Annie? Usually when anything weird like this happens, it's usually her getting into things. But no, we are not headed for World War III. But the card of inaction. So you're asking, are we getting more checks? And you get the card of inaction. So because it's reversed. If it's upright, then it's great. But yeah, I wasn't. Even though I know all about, we're all of us right about now could all use a stimulus check. I can't blame Annie. She's being such a love bug. She's sitting across from me right now. I have the heated blanket on for her. So let me take a sip and then I'm going to read on Merrick Garland, okay? Okay. All right, let's see. What is going on with Merrick? Yeah, you know, this is kind of what we got on Saturday night too, that there's other things like seeming to go on with him. So I don't know. You know, he's feeling, we'll talk about downtrodden, right? He's feeling depressed, sad, you know, regret, sorrowful. You know, it's certainly a very low energy card. His obstacle is, I'm going to take the Hermit card quite literally, that he's not getting the support that he needs, that he's sort of on it all by himself, that, you know, for some reason, I do think he feels threatened. And he winds up feeling very stressed, anxious, worried, sleepless nights. So there is something else going on with him, which is what we talked about on Saturday night with the death threats. Like, why is he not taking action? There's clearly something else going on. There is something else at play. And as time goes on, it's becoming more obvious because it seems like it's hindering him. I still think he's doing what he can, but it does feel and seem really limited. So there is something there. So Sharon asks, is the average American disgusted with the GOP and the overall corruption in our government? I think that's two very different questions. So, because unfortunately there's corruption everywhere, right? So how does the average American feel about the GOP? Yeah, I don't mean to be hard on Garland, but there is clearly something else going on. And we were all getting that Saturday night too. There is some other unknown factor that's hindering him. Okay. Oh, cards are jumping. Let me see what jumped out. Let me just go back up here. Okay, so how does the average American feel? Let me draw out the first. So the first card is the smug merchant reversed. So not content, not satisfied. Okay. The obstacle is, you know, this is my other card for America. And it's also the card of having faith and trust. So there's a lot of people that don't have faith and trust in the GOP. Okay. Why? Because, there's an imbalance of how money gets spent and how money gets dealt with. It doesn't always go to where it's needed, and the GOP really does fight hard against things. And I think there's a lot of people in the country that feels betrayed by the GOP, stabbed in the back. They didn't get out of it what they thought that they would, right? That sort of feeling. I'm not going to feed into the fear of the whole Trump beating Biden. I mean, he's going to be gone. Trump is not an issue in 2024. Because if somehow there's no realm of reality, there's not even a timeline that even lends to a possibility of 45 having any chance. Because that would mean every single one of those dozens and dozens and dozens of lawsuits and legal cases and criminal charges are all magically going to go away. So you don't have to be psychic for that one. It's not going to happen. I won't read on it because there's just nothing to read on. What is the future of the UN? Sarah asks. Yeah, let's take a look at the UN. Let's take a look at the UN. Oh. Interesting. These are very strange cards. Not what I expected. Okay. So the first card is the Ten of Swords. So that's not a great card to have represent the UN, is it? So it's a card of betrayal, being stabbed in the back, certainly a card of loss. And the obstacle is their lack of action in doing things. So that's, an issue. And it's sort of like they have to go back to the drawing board. They get 2 twos, so twos are at the start of your journey. So having to make a decision, being at a crossroads, and then, trying to juggle everything, trying to balance things out. And it's just sort of like a mess here. But then, we go through lack of joy, lack of celebration. So the UN is clearly going to be going through something. And it's not that positive for quite some time, but then there's a return to normalcy. So it's going to take a bit, but I think they'll persevere. But I think they're going to go through their trials and tribulations too. So let me see. Anything else? So will Vladimir go on trial in The Hague? Let's see. I'm going to finish up with that one because that'll put us at half an hour. So I think that's a good amount of time. Oh, but I do want to do the missing White House phone records next. Yes. So I will do this with Putin going to The Hague or not. And then I'll do those 7 hours of missing phone records. I didn't want to forget that. Yeah, going into Putin's energy is so chaotic. I mean, he feels like he's being just dragged down and anxious, like a caged animal. It's not a good feeling. Not a good feeling. But of course, too, I haven't seen anything good, in his future. So there's definitely going to be talk about it. People are going to be going back and forth, like, what do we do with this man? There's going to be a lot of discussion, but lots of differing views, too. The obstacle is that it's not going to happen quickly. So, because one of the meanings of the strength card is patience, and it's in the obstacle position. So, it's not going to happen as fast as we would like it. They're going to be plotting, planning, trying to figure things out. There's going to be a lot that we learn, you know, because the Hermit is about learning, education, seeking knowledge. So there's a lot that we're going to hear. And I don't think that this is going to turn out well for Putin. You know, the card of just like total loss, the card of poverty, the card of losing everything. So he may very well go on trial. If he makes it, see, that's the whole thing. If he makes it that long, you know, I don't know if a man like him would be willing to do that. Okay, so let's look at what is going on with those missing 7 hours from January 6th. If you don't know what I'm talking about, on January 6th, the White House phone just pretty much went dead, apparently, for 7 hours. I haven't really heard anybody talk about this, but I just kept hearing that phrase burner phone. So I don't think he stopped talking in those 7 hours. I think he just used a different phone. I think somebody must have tapped him on the shoulder and said, hey, you know, this is being recorded. Don't do it. So let's take a look at those missing 7 hours. I don't think it's going to be found because I don't really think it's missing. I don't think they happened on that phone. They have to get to whatever burner phone. Right. I mean, like someone says, he can't stop talking. No, he can't. I mean, he talks more in one day than what I would do in a year. Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Liz, for your donation. I appreciate that. So yeah, they need to find that phone. That's the thing. First card, the card of illusions and delusions, disillusionment. Things being done in the dark, things being done secretly. And so, yeah, I think, oh, has it been on the news that he used burner phones? Oh, see, I don't watch the news really, so. Yeah, I just kept hearing the phrase burner phone. So, okay. Yeah, I don't think they're really missing. I think they're just looking on the wrong phone. The card that is the obstacle is the Temperance card. So it's going to sort of test our patience, I think, a little bit, because we want this to happen sooner than later, don't we? We want this to be done and over with. We want answers, don't we? And clearly the government is going to step in. So, you know, that January 6th committee is going to step in and they're going to do something. So they're going to try to get this figured out. So let me just do a clarifier on this, because who's the one that's getting stabbed in the back? Is it 45 or is it us? Or you know what they can do too, is get the phone logs from other people's, because I'm sure they have a good sense of who he called, the people that he called, to get their phone records. And maybe that's what they will do. Okay, so who is being betrayed in this? Is it us or is it 45? So I get my card for 45. This is one of my, I mean, because when he's at his best, right? This is, you know, certainly could represent him, but he hasn't been in this energy for quite some time. So yeah, I would say there's going to be those that betray him and give up their phone records. So that is going to be a problem for him. All right, everyone. It was a pleasure doing it this night with all of you, you know, coming on live and sharing this Wednesday evening with you. And I will just upload this video and you can watch it again or whenever. So thank you for joining me tonight, everyone. Have a great evening. Bye.